should be up and ready, and I'll get this thing tweeted out as soon as the video starts showing. There we go. Me and Shawn both have had a few days at work that have been wild and crazy, so we're like kind of holding our excitement for the show and just kind of totally blow the wad there and then be done.
I'm right there with you. We've had a crazy couple of days.
Yeah. I don't know why Tuesdays have become the day that I have meetings, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and then, then it's time to start work. But then after all those meetings and everything, it's like, all right, time to do podcasts. And my voice is gone. I'm going, okay, well.
Yeah, we've got meetings on Tuesdays pretty much all morning, and then it kind of calms itself. But yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I know.
All right. We got Jumpy Bob. We got Roger. People hanging out. Sweet. Thanks for coming. Well, we ready to get started? Why not?
Yeah, might as well.
All right. Sooner we do this, sooner I get saved down, sooner I go to bed. All right. Game face. Let's do it. Here we go. Recording now. Oh, welcome, y'all! That's right. This is a Pregame Engineer Tailgate Air Racing Podcast, episode number 287. It's Tuesday, April 27th, 2021. I'm Tailgate Mayor Rusty Wallace in the PETM Podcast Studio in Atlanta, Georgia. This podcast is sponsored by you. That's right. You go to patreon.com/PETM. Join the What's Drink Club for as little as $1 a month. Get that free food. Get some stickers. Best part is every cent this year we're going to donate to sponsoring drivers. Once again, join the PETM Posse today. Be a part of the sport you love. This week's show, as always, brought to you by our official sponsors at that $5 and up per month level. Here we go. Aaron Bearden, Robert Kettlinger, Coleman Clam, Eric Kettner, Ryan Kiefer, Patrick Theory, Jeff Brown, Brandon Crowd, Callie McDonald, Brandon Carl, Rika Porter, Julie Bosley, Ed Grid, Third Youngker Motorsports, David Mullins, Patrick Johnson, Brett Morris, Crystal Smoke, Fred Rosado, Chad Knapp, Stacy Coleman, Lisa Chinana, Rick Houston, Sarah Enbari, Evan Roller, Matthew Bishop, Harry Bolzania, AJ Evangelista, Janet Scott, Les Miller, and Jumpy Bob. Yeah. All right. Got that one out? It was a one-time? Let's welcome on from the PETM North Carolina studio, Pregame Engineer Andrew Sherwin. What's up, dude?
Oh, it's starting to warm up here, man.
Dude, just before the show, I was like, man, it's getting hot in here. I'm fixing to turn off. I'm gonna take off all my clothes. No, it's I need to turn the AC on. So yeah, we had that little spat. I don't know, a week ago, whatever it was. Wife turned the heater back on, and then the AC the next day, and then the heater again, and so yeah.
It's not weather, it's malaria.
Right. Well, let's go ahead and welcome our special guest tonight, multi-time PETM PhD, ARCA extraordinaire, and often kidnapped by drunk college kids, the Orange Cone. What's up, Cone?
What's happening, boys?
Don't ask me how I know about the kidnapped by drunk college kids.
I'm all for it.
Cone or two in the old Sherwin and Rusty loft at one point.
Right.
Goodness.
I'm all for it. I'm all for it. As long as it's used for wholesome reasons.
Well, usually just to spook somebody climbing in their loft, but as a teenager, it might have got a little bit more reckless than that. And I don't mean,
I can imagine. Some alcohol involved.
Vehicles, alcohol. You never know what's going to happen with a cone.
Oh man,
right. That's but everybody respects a cone.
Yeah.
You put one in the middle of a sidewalk, people are going to walk around it.
Well, that's true. That's true. Walking's a whole different story too. You don't have any
the cone, right?
3,000-pound weaponry to do something with.
There's only one person who disrespects the cone, and she's upstairs. So.
Well, I'm sure by now you've probably had 900,000 people send you that picture of the grizzly bear walking down the road, seeing the cone that's flipped over, and he reaches out and tilts it back up.
Yeah, that's good.
That's respect.
That is respect right there.
It sure is. Cone, you know how we start the deal. What you drinking tonight?
I'm drinking a Fanta Zero Sugar.
Dude, I think that's a couple times in a row with the Fanta. I'm digging it.
It's pretty hard hitting.
Is it orange drink or grape drink?
Orange drink.
Orange drink. There you go. Orange cone, orange drink.
I noticed that there's a new one that's like a lime and something, and I was like, I might have to try that one day. It was like at Arby's, I think.
I'll take it.
There you go. Have either one of y'all had Jarritos or Jarritos? It's it starts with a J, Jarritos. It's becoming more popular here. I think it's either from Mexico or surrounding area, and like it's showing up at kind of like Hispanic shops, and then it showed up at the grocery store near me. Now it's like all over the place, and they've got one that is the grapefruit. Sherwin, you might have been over when at one point when I had some of that, and I'm like, dude, you got to mix this in whatever you want, and it's going to taste good. So,
I like grapefruit. So yeah, I'm sure. I thought I remembered that.
Yeah.
Isn't the surrounding area of Mexico the United States?
And Guatemala.
Well, yeah, I mean, kind of. Yeah. Well, and I mean, the Hispanic population in the Southeast is obviously quite high because of all the.
It's pretty high, right?
Painting and the agriculture.
Oh man! So Jarritos is a brand of soft drink in Mexico, founded in 1950 by Don Francisco. Like, come on!
That's a name right there.
Yeah, it is. I dig that.
Like it's carrying some weight.
Godfather, Don Francisco.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, Cone, let's see. I think we've been kind of giving the countdown on the PTM podcast of vaccine-related stuff, and I am fully charged. Like, the
Nice.
5G is strong.
Strong,
Bill
dude.
Gates is talking to me, and he says, Rusty, go to the racetrack. So I'm ready to go.
I didn't even have to use my phone to connect with you. I'm vaccinated. You guys are vaccinated. We're just talking.
That's right. It's, why do we even open our mouths? I don't really need to.
Just telepathically.
Right. This is just for the sake of recording.
Bill Gates is involved. Right.
ET home phone.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, Sherwin, you're about done too, right?
Yeah, got my my second one last Tuesday, so I'm on downhill towards heading to the racetrack, baby.
I'm live on the air, honey.
Tell her
that was quick.
Podcast said, hey.
I just heard your voice from a room away, and I'm like, oh, it's Sherwin.
That's awesome.
Well, don't diss Rusty like that. He's doing most of the talking.
Rusty's doing all of the talking.
It's cool.
Rusty won the Utah standoff. So
look out. Oh, man. Cone, where are you at? You got your first dose yet?
So I got my second dose Saturday morning at 6:00.
Okay.
And I tell you what, I ran wide open all Saturday till about 7 p.m. And then I felt like I got backed over by a dump truck then thrown in front of a bus and then run over by a semi. I laid in bed, and I don't remember much of this, but I laid in bed and my beautiful roommate here looked at me in the morning and she said, "You poor thing, you moaned for like the last 8 hours. You just laid in bed and moaned."
I spent a good 16 hours of Saturday mostly asleep.
Yeah.
And I was awake enough to watch the UFC fights, which was fun.
There you go.
I mean, I'll tell you what, it was a rough night on Saturday night, but you knew you were going to feel bad going in, which is, I think I could have prepared myself better for it with just some Advil and some Excedrin and a little bit of Gatorade maybe, but it's definitely the right thing to do. I'm 100% behind this. I'm feeling good about it.
You know what? I would take the moaning over his snoring
Okay.
at night.
Yeah, I would take the moaning over your snoring too.
Look out.
So, but yeah, I don't know, if you all know this, but my brother-in-law passed away of COVID about 10 days ago.
Oh my gosh.
And it was, look, I'm not asking, not looking for sympathy for myself. My sister is going through a really rough time. But just for those who are listening, might be listening, and if you're on the fence about this deal, look, it's for real. He died a miserable death. And I know we don't want to linger on this, but it was a miserable death. And it was painful. It was traumatic for the people around him. And very sudden. It was about 3 days, and he was gone. So think about it. Just seriously think about it for your loved ones, for the people who love you. If you're on the fence, I'm begging you, for my brother-in-law, in his memory, go get the shot. Please do it. So if you can. Now, there are some legit reasons why you can't, like allergies or whatever, but just my senator told me I shouldn't do it is not a reason,
right?
So go do it.
And that's something interesting that I think there's only been like 3 or 4 drivers. This kind of surprised me that have said, yeah, I got vaccinated. Everybody go, and showing themselves doing that. I guess
I've seen a couple of them today. Austin Cindric today, and Jeb Burton today. Both did it.
I saw that.
So I think we will be seeing more of this. So I think one of the issues is they're going to find it difficult to pick a day that they can just throw away to feel crappy.
Mm-hmm.
We've got some races back to back to back. But we do have Mother's Day weekend coming up, which is kind of an off weekend for them. So I'm hoping that we do see more drivers, showing those vaccine cards. I think we will. I really do. I think the industry as a whole would like to have full grandstands. This is the way to make it happen.
Absolutely. And the 2 reasons, there's I would say 2 reasons why, I don't know, me and Shawn probably brought it up the last 5 weeks, counting down to, fully charged or whatever. But, one of them is like, hey, if I see somebody at the racetrack and they want to give me a hug, I'm in. That sounds good to me. Why not? But, so there's the me reason. But then the other reason is just normalizing this thing, right? When I'm talking to folks at work, there's never anybody who's saying I don't know about this. If you normalize it to the point that there's just no question anymore, right? That's just what you do. That's you go out and do that. And I think that's, and I believe in that. That's what you do. You go out and do that. So,
right. What did we do as a society when the polio vaccine was, and that was developed in a big hurry.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were kids lined up in school to get their sugar cube to take this thing.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't a lot of debate. There wasn't a political debate about it. There shouldn't be a political debate about this either. I'm Sherwin and I talk politics on our personal phone calls all the time. We don't need to get into it, but there has been a lot of weaponized stupidity on both sides of the aisle for the last 20 years. We need to get over that, and we need to just do what's right. This vaccine is what's right. We all want to get back to going outside without a mask, sitting in restaurants, going to bars, going to movie theaters, going to bowling alleys, going to the races, going to concerts. We're all complaining that we can't do it, but we don't want to do the thing that's going to make it possible to get out there and do it. Seriously, I want to go to the racetrack and talk to tens of thousands of people, not tens of people.
Right.
Go get your vaccine. Let's go to the racetrack and have a good time, and let's put this craziness of the last 18 months behind us. I really do just want to, and I don't want to lose any more of the people that matter to me. I don't.
Absolutely.
And that's the really crappy thing about this is, there's a lot of really good people that are no longer with us because, they weren't able to get a vaccine or, whatever. It's horrible. So let's quit jerking around and let's make it happen and let's go racing.
Yes, sir. It's funny. I think it was last week that I don't know, it made big news or whatever, that Pfizer was like, oh man, it looks like within a year you're going to have to get another booster. And it was all over the news and everything. I was like, okay. Sure.
Right. All right.
What? Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'll do that then.
All right. We get a flu shot every year. What's the downside to it?
Yeah. I'm fine.
Well, I mean, think about when you went to college and hepatitis B was a 2-rounder, right? And they're like, hey, you got to come back in 2 weeks and get that second one. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. Sure. Right. Sure. Well, gentlemen.
How come scientists don't have every problem in the world solved right now, immediately? Yeah, because that's not how it works, people. Again, enough with the weaponized stupidity. Let's just stop it.
Right. We've got this one solved, so deal with it. Make it happen. Right. So
on to the next one. Right.
Cone, what's been going on in ARCA lately, man?
I'll tell you what, man. We had a terrific race down at Talladega. I was looking at some stats the other day. The most lead changes we have had in a race since July of 2018. We had a great field of cars. Every race we have had this year has been up on entries over 2020. We're going to continue that trend at Kansas this week. We had a great race for the win. And I'll tell you what, man, I was pulling for old Dave Mader, an original member of the Alabama gang, came up 86 thousandths of a second short there at the end. It's been 29 years, 10 months, and 2 days since his only ARCA win. And how awesome would that have been to pick up a second career win almost 3 decades later?
That is nuts.
That's just nuts, isn't it?
Wasn't he like 76 too?
He's 65.
Okay, sorry, Mr. Mater.
Right. My bad. Don't make him come and get you. He's feisty. Don't make him come and get you.
It's Alabama gang, man.
That's right, man. But you know what a great race, and Corey Heim is just having an incredible run here. He's won 3 of the last 4, and he's really kind of putting his stamp on the championship battle. And you know, he and Ty Gibbs are going to be the ones to beat there for this deal, but. Ty had a bit of a bad luck race there right at the end. You know, but I think one of the things that I really liked about that Talladega race is we saw some underdog teams really show that they can get up there and compete. Dave Mader is driving a car that is not, well, you know, as funded as some of the others. It's a small team, and you know, Dave himself is like you said, 65 years old. He's no spring chicken. He's the first one to admit it. You know, you had guys like Greg Van Alst who ran up front all day. Eric Caudell ran up front all day. You know, I really enjoyed the heck out of that. Now, I know people are going to ask, you know, about the accident with Derrick Lancaster, and I, you know, and I'm going to transition into ARCA PR guy for a second, but you know, unfortunately, really all we can do is relay what his family is saying, and his wife Beth has been giving updates on her Facebook page.
Yeah, I think I saw the latest, something like that he was they're kind of weaning him off of the drugs and starting to take him off ventilator and stuff. So, you know, we're definitely rooting for him and whatnot, and fingers crossed.
I will tell you, he is just such a great story. Derrick is a great guy. Was fastest in testing down at Daytona in January. That was the first time he had been in a race car since he broke his neck in a crash on a short track last year.
Oh my gosh!
And
dude's been
and it was a basilar skull fracture. It was that's a big one.
That's the bad one.
Recovered from that. You know, came down and was running up at the front of the field in the race and got swept into a crash. And same deal at Talladega. He was running in the top 5. I think he was passing for 3rd when he got involved in that incident. And just a tough deal. You know, all I can do is pass along the information that his wife has been sharing, and just offer my best wishes for speedy recovery. But Derrick is a fantastic guy. The entire industry is pulling for him, and you know, that's just the unfortunate side of racing at Talladega is sometimes things can go awry that you don't even really have a hand in. But yeah, Derrick is a good dude, and we're all pulling for him, and my heart goes out to his wife Beth, because you know, it's tough to, as my family can attest, it's tough to sit there when someone you love is going through something like that. But yeah, she's a strong lady, and Derrick's a good dude, and everybody's pulling for him.
Absolutely. Well, gentlemen, let's go ahead and start talking about the races. It's a teardown. So, first period is Talladega. I guess, you know, we're sitting here talking about all the downer stuff. Let's talk about the Logano deal for a minute, and we'll transition into the fun stuff. But, you know, this is, I don't know. For me, it feels like something we talk about. Every 2 years, there's some pretty scary thing. Maybe it was, you know, more like a year and a half ago in our latest Super Speedway Mayhem stuff. And it has to do with folks getting airborne. And I don't know what it's going to take or what next steps or whatever else. I know, you know, NASCAR said they're doing an investigation or whatnot, but, I mean, is this the end of high speeds at Talladega? Is it the end of summer? Or is it just, you know, here we are again? And what are we going to do? I don't know. I don't know how to solve this thing. and I feel like some folks are getting a little more vocal about it now. Maybe I don't know though. What do y'all think?
So I'll tell you what, I am not a physicist. I unfortunately cannot see the air. I think that's what it's going to take. Is it's going to take someone who is way smarter than me, who can mess with the fluid dynamics of an invisible substance and figure out a way to direct that air in a manner that's going to press those cars to the racetrack rather than lift them up. We've seen cars get airborne since I'm thinking the first blowovers probably happened in the 1960s. Just from anytime, planes that which weigh, hundreds of thousands of pounds lift off at 160 miles an hour. That's the critical speed right there. And we're well above that. So, I don't know what can be done. I know that you could probably come up with some more flaps, some spoilers, there's got to be a way to do it. I personally, and again, this is just me speaking for me here, I would be more focused on strengthening, the cockpit area of the race. I honestly don't believe that you can keep race cars on the ground in every circumstance. I just don't. You see sprint cars flip at short tracks at 80 miles an hour. I've seen late models flip on quarter mile short tracks at 60 miles an hour. It just happens. And then when you're talking about going 200 miles an hour and then you bring aerodynamics into the factor, it's just, there's so many unknowns and so many variables. I think you got to concentrate on strengthening the cockpit area of the race car. You got to focus on intrusion protection. We saw why you need to do that last year with Ryan Newman. I guarantee you there are people who are working on that. There's full-time people whose job is to come up with, ways to prevent those types of things from happening. So I think that it's scary when you see a race car upside down because you don't know where it's going to go and who's going to hit what. And, but, thankfully the incident that we had with Joey, as flips go, it's pretty minor, thankfully.
Mm-hmm. Sherwin?
Yeah, well, I agree 100% that there's definitely somebody working on figuring this out, and I think the structural integrity of the cabin is probably first, and the finding some solution to the aero piece of the puzzle next. You think about what you just said, Cone, about, a commercial airliner needs to hit about 160 to take off. I think the plane's Rusty Flies probably only have to hit about 85 or 90.
Way less.
Way less.
I go airborne at 55.
Yeah, and you think about, a race car. A race car looks a lot like an airplane wing, and the faster you go, the less efficient that wing has to be to actually draw lift. So yeah, I don't know what they're doing. And what I read something over the weekend that this new car, the panel underneath it's actually flatter. It's going to be more efficient for making that car look like a wing if you get air in the right spot. So they're going to have to find a way to vent air through the bottom or up into the cabin in order to keep that thing, to let it settle back down.
Yeah.
So the one thing that I think I've always wondered why we don't or haven't looked into something like this is maybe a hinged spoiler, that when that spoiler gets turned into the wind, it folds back and helps direct that air rather than catching that air. But maybe there's a reason why that's not a possibility. I don't know. You see the DRS zones in F1 and the movable flaps on those cars. And, there has to be a way to create some sort of similar thing on a stock car that, when you get turned backwards, the air pressure just does it automatically.
Right.
I don't know. There's, like I said, there's a lot of really intelligent people whose full-time job is, safety and innovation in this deal. But, as My roommate likes to say to me sometimes, brainstorming never hurts, right?
It doesn't.
I'm just brainstorming here.
Right. Well, I think what I would like to see, at least from an engineering perspective, is we've got those cowl flaps that open on the hood that are supposed to release pressure from underneath the car if it turns all the way backwards. What we saw with Joey is it actually started to gain lift as it turned about, 100 degrees off, going straight. And it was in the corner hitting the apron, so air could come right up underneath it.
Yeah.
Now, if you got a cowl flap underneath where the passenger seat would be, and all that air could just swoop up and go out the window, maybe you don't have that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and I think one of the tough situations there is that most of the time when these cars get upside down these days, it's because someone has made contact with them and has upset the air, around the car. And I think that's what happened there. When Joey was sideways, he got a little tap from somebody and it kind of pushed him up and over. But I think you're exactly right. If there was a way to vent some of that air from inside or redirect that air somewhere else, again, it certainly wouldn't hurt to at least discuss it and talk about it.
Well, you had said it too. I mean, how much when we talk about people going to the wind tunnel, the car's facing forward in that. So,
right.
Spend a little bit of time with that thing turned around sideways or backwards or at a 160-degree angle or something and mess with some stuff,
Well, I think the original testing that they did with the roof flaps way back in the day, Jack Roush, came somewhere and fired a jet engine over, that's how he did it. He was just out in a parking lot somewhere and strapped his car down onto something and fired up a jet. And, that's a lot of air movement that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about the race then. I'll say the end of the race. Brad Keselowski, and beyond that, Byron McDowell. How about that? Harvick, Burrito, and then we get to Kaz Grala in 6 for the first non-Ford.
Well, Byron's in a Chevy.
Oh, my bad.
Holla for Grala. I'll tell you what a very interesting last couple of laps that was, wasn't it? And how can you not feel bummed out for Matt DiBenedetto? I mean, just what a great run he had. He worked his way up to the front there late in the race and looked like he was going to have a shot to win, and then the caution comes out. And, I think what happened is he got too good of a restart, and he got a little bit too far out there. And when that happens, you're just a sitting duck. Nobody is better than Brad Keselowski in knowing how the air is going to work and how to manage that energy in the draft. And he showed it. I mean, what's that, a 6th win at Talladega, I think?
Yeah. And Sherwin says it all the time that, like, just being in the right spot, right, or being up there, you got to be up there to win it. And
right.
he finds a way. I like the way you put it, Cone, with knowing how the air works and being that technical driver, Sherwin.
Yep. And I'll tell you, I mean, I've known Brad a long time, and he was always a very studious, whether he was working for his family's truck team or he was trying to make his way into the sport as a driver, he was always very studious, very attentive to every detail of whatever it was that he was working on. He wanted to know, not only did he want to know what to do, he wanted to know why he needed to do it. And he's carried that along with him his entire career. And, it is no surprise to me that there are no one better at managing the air than Brad is. And I'll tell you another thing that I was really happy to, we talked about it in the ARCA race, same thing on Sunday. There were some underdogs up at the front of the field. How about Michael McDowell?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't want to say he backed into the Daytona 500 because you have to be in position to take advantage of other people's, do we call it misfortune, stupidity? What do we call what happened?
End of race super speedway shenanigans.
Right. But he still had to be in position to take advantage of it, and he won the race, and that's fantastic. But he just about took this one on his own on Sunday. I mean, I really thought he was going to have the run to get up there and pass Brad, and as big of a Brad Keselowski fan as I was, I found myself cheering for Michael Mcdowell on that last lap. Like, come on, man, make that happen. I love these underdog stories, and McDowell this year has really run just incredibly well in that 34 car. Is that his 4th top 10 so far? I mean, there are years where that entire organization hasn't had 4 top 10s, and that car has had 4 of them, including a win already this year. So that's just fantastic. And then, De Benedetto having a great run, and how about Kaz Grala? I mean, what can you say?
Yeah, that's great. That's great for him.
He doesn't get a lot of opportunities, but whenever he does, he certainly takes advantage of them, doesn't he?
Absolutely. Yeah. Sherwin, you were going to say something?
No, I lost it.
Sorry.
Because Cone talks too much. Cone is dominating the show. I'll let you talk for a while, Sherwin.
No, I don't. I mean, I'm just looking at the show sheet, seeing what's next, man. I'm the color guy, so if it goes out the ear, it's gone.
It's out. Yeah. You did correct me though, Byron Chevy there in second. I don't know how I overlooked that one, but yeah, and Brad continuing to do that. How about Jeb Burton in the Xfinity Series getting that first win? I mean, rain out, say what you want, but it's another one. Got to be at the right place at the right time. The right time was when the rain came, and the right place was first.
I'll tell you what, as a driver, I don't care how I get them.
Well, think about it. Yeah, think about it from this perspective. And I was thinking in my head, like, how do we name this episode? And I was like, the Burton Kingdom, or the Kingdom of the Burtons, or something. I mean, all 4 of them have won in a national touring series, and that's the first time that a family's ever done that.
That's cool.
Pretty impressive. So,
I mean, the Burtons, they got it going on. I mean, Jeb's story is probably one of the most heartfelt, and how many times he's bounced in and out trying to get a ride here or there, piece something together, ride. He got a full truck ride, didn't really work out so good, and he's been piecing it together, and all of a sudden he gets in colleague's car, and he's got full sponsorship, and he's showing what he can do with it.
You just need that right situation, the right set of chemistry, and yeah, he's going to have himself a pretty good year this year, I think.
Yeah. Well, that's it for the that stuff. I did want to bring up that hilariously, I gotta pat the old Rusty on the back here because I think it was 3 weeks ago, and we were talking with Jeremy Korst on the show, and of course marketing expert in the house, and we were joking that we got like $1 million worth of consulting on that. But I did bring up at one point, what are some marketing faux pas, things you shouldn't do? And I had mentioned, well, if you put on a internet poll, that's how you're going to get things like Bodie McBoatface. Well,
right.
Fast forward 3 weeks, and they're coming up with the name for the Kansas race. So what they do, they put out an internet poll, and the winner, not Bodie McBoatface, but it's the Bushy McBush race.
I love it.
I cannot wait to hear the announcers have to read that.
Oh, I cannot wait. Mike Joy will do it with immense professionalism.
No doubt.
Oh, man.
No one I would want other than Mike Joy to have to say Bushy McBush race.
I can't wait to hear Clint not be able to stop laughing.
Right. Well, all Mike Joy has to do then is just show the clip of Clint Boyer riding that motorcycle a few years ago.
That or the like 15, or I'm not sure, but I was thinking in my mind about when all that simulation stuff was going, and they decided to start putting it on TV, and Clint's sitting there and is commentating in his rig, and there's empty tall boys of Bush just scattered everywhere.
So a couple of years ago, they invited Clint to come to Supercross. And
when he crashed into the wall.
Drove it head on into the wall.
I mean, just full bore into the banks.
It's one of my absolute favorite videos of all time.
The tough blocks. That was funny. I was like, "Oh hell, did he get hurt?" That looked bad.
Yard sale. So the 4 finalists for the name was the Bush Latte 400, the Nectar of the Cobs 400, the For the Farmers 400, and then of course the Bushy McBush Race 400, And I felt like that was a multiple choice question that had a right answer to it. So
there was definitely a right answer, and it is the winner.
yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong then. Maybe, I made fun of the internet polling, and now we get some fun out of it. So maybe this is the right way to go.
Well, I mean, there are right and wrong things to do on the internet, and I will tell you, I have done lots of wrong things, particularly with this little Twitter account of mine. But I've done a lot of right things too, and I think the more you can engage people and give them a voice, the more that they're going to want to participate, and the more that they're going to have fun with it. And if you get Bushy McBush race as a result, you have fun with it. That's what that's what you're there to do.
Yeah. Well, I should mention that I believe it was in order to vote in the system that they had, you had to donate $1 to some. I think it was a farmer charity or something like that. So you know what? That I guess that is a good way to do it. Put some money behind it, and hey, if you want to meme the crap out of it with money backing you, then why not?
Why not? Have at it.
So. Anyway, I was pretty excited about that. How about this? A lot of new press in the last week. We've been talking about it for weeks now, but it feels like there's every time I look for stories and stuff to talk about, every week there's more and more, 2 hours ago or 8 hours ago or 3 days ago or whatever, stories that come up about this whole Chicago street race. Cone, do you think there's more legs now than ever to that?
I absolutely love it. I actually looked at the esports course layout, and I've been there. I've been on those streets. My roommate is a Chicago area native, so we've spent a lot of time down in the city, and it's a wonderful part of town. It's a great layout. I think if they were to line that with some Jersey barriers and fire these cars up and go race tomorrow, I think it'd be a fun race. I think it'd be a good race. I would probably pay money to go and watch it.
Mm-hmm.
I think look, I don't think we need to do it 7 times a year. I don't think we need to do it 2 times a year, but doing it 1 time a year, I'm all for it. I really am. I would like to find a way to do more short track racing, but I absolutely think that if you are going to be the top level stock car series in the world, that you need to have the most diverse schedule you can possibly have. And you race on super speedways, you race on intermediate tracks, you race on short tracks, natural terrain road courses, a dirt track, a street course is right there. Let's do it. Let's find a way to make it happen, and let's go do it.
Yeah. Well, obviously NASCAR wanted to stay in the Chicago market by, going to Road America. So maybe this is something that flip-flops around a little bit. Hate it for the Joliet, Chicagoland folks that aren't going to get their race. Maybe not ever again. Who knows? Depends on how everything shakes out. But I was certainly not going to poo-poo this idea at all. I like the idea. What you just said, Cone, is let's make this thing about as diverse as we possibly can, and then still keep all of the capital partners satisfied with what the income they can achieve through the properties that they own, because that's a big piece of the puzzle too. But if NASCAR is going to own this, the sanctioning part of it, like ISC is going to own the sanctioning part of it, yeah, maybe you flip-flop between Road America and Street Course at Chicago every other year.
I wouldn't have an issue with that at all. I actually would. I would prefer to find a way to do both personally, but yeah, I really do. I think the Chicago area it's a great town. I've been very fortunate to spend a lot of time there the last few years. I've really come to appreciate being in the city in particular. And like I said, that part of the city is just it's beautiful. And I think it would be a great fit. And I like I said, I'm excited about the prospect. I would find a way to go and spectate. I would buy a ticket to go see that one if I could.
Yeah, and so that was one of the questions I had too: is how do you spectate that kind of race? And I mean, I guess over in Europe they've got it figured out somehow, but what does that look like?
So I think in that particular part of town, it's a park. I think it would be very easy to put up some temporary grandstands, I think you would have a pretty good line of sight over much of the racetrack, depending on how those temporary grandstands were set up. It's very reminiscent to me of the old Cleveland Burke Lakefront Airport Grand Prix that they had for the IndyCar series back in the day. I think it would. It would be a lot easier to see a lot of that race course than a lot of people think it would be.
And how much of it could you watch from like a hotel building or a business building?
How cool would that be?
Kind of like the old across the street from Wrigley kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, I think that would also be a possibility. How fun would that be?
Rent you out.
I mean, neat.
Rent you out a hotel room with a balcony, and I mean, just try not to fall off.
Well, I think they'd have to strap people like you and Rusty down, Sherwin.
They might. We might need to be in a straitjacket with like the beer helmet thing.
Yeah.
And just have an attendant say, be like, hey, one of these is empty. I can totally tell.
We get that lap traffic guy involved. That could really be disastrous for y'all.
Oh man, vodka on one side, Red Bull on the other, or whatever.
Oh yeah. That would be funny. By the way, Brandon told me to tell you, said, hey, Cone.
All right, there you go. Hey, Brandon.
Oh, sweet.
Hey, how's Lindsay doing?
She's doing good.
Wait. Never mind. Ashley's right here. Never mind. I didn't say that.
Oh, man. It's about the inflection. Oh, how's Lindsay doing versus how's Lindsay doing?
No, it's like this. Like, how's Lindsay doing, baby?
Well, I think old Gare's out of the picture, so he might be in like Flynn.
His boat sank or something. I don't know. He sank the boat, and seriously, man. Ashley, if anybody asks you to take a nighttime cruise on his boat, and you say yes, we're gonna have a chat.
Right. I'm aware. I'm not going on any boat.
Ain't no boat. Sink or swim.
She went on a date. She got asked out on a date right in front of her husband. No, Lindsay. No, you did.
Lindsay did.
Oh,
Lindsay did.
Wow.
Lindsay got asked out on a date right in front of her husband, and she accepted.
I'm not going on a boat with anybody unless I'm planning on not bringing them back.
Right. Yeah, that's good to know.
So how about Netflix is doing this documentary series about about Bubba Wallace and the 23XI team getting or really about their team's efforts through 2021. I thought it was cool just for the sake of it's funny where my mind goes first, and I'm not trying to say woke or whatever else. I'm just more like, oh, sweet, kind of behind the scenes NASCAR, what's going on? I love it. And then I don't know why the like, I don't know, overly political people have to start poo-pooing on stuff, but then it's they're it's blah blah blah. They're just trying to make money, yada yada. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm not again trying to be woke about it, but I wasn't thinking of it in that way. I'm thinking of it like, hey, cool, NASCAR behind the scenes. I want to see this, and Bubba Wallace, I love that driver. This should be cool. So
what? Someone's trying to make money in racing? What? How dare they?
Right?
Well, there's two pieces.
Such a thing. Oh
yeah.
My gosh.
Well, there's two groups of people that are in that pitchfork crowd. There's the people that don't understand the difference between the fact that hardcore fans that do have Netflix are probably going to watch this no matter who the subject matter is. That's not what NASCAR is trying to do.
Right.
They're trying to bring in the crowd. They want Chad Johnson using the F word talking about NASCAR during Talladega because he's like, what the hell's with all these commercials?
Right.
And we're like, yeah, dude. Yeah. I mean, thanks for showing up and playing, but yeah.
You know who they want is they want the car owner of the 2311 racing team to bring in all of his fans.
Right.
That's what
it's marketing genius. You think about it. If you're trying,
it's a new team. It's a dynamic personality who has a reach outside of the sport, who has a car owner who has a massive reach worldwide. Why wouldn't you do a show on that combination?
Especially since Netflix is a global platform.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it just makes all this, like, if this is going to be a docu-series that becomes a multi-year series, the best one to start with is Bubba and Michael Jordan
Right.
in NASCAR.
I was a fan of this deal back in the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. And I remember TNN, the Nashville network, the Southern channel that, all of the country people watched, and racing was very closely identified with the country lifestyle. And it was like it was the best kept secret in the world. Like when you were watching TNN, and you were watching a race from Phoenix or Dover or wherever they were broadcasting that race from, you knew it was a big deal, but you also kind of felt like a very select club knew about what you were talking about. Well, we're 30 years removed from that. We want the entire world to know what we're talking about here, and Netflix is going to be the way to do that. This is, we're in a vastly different media landscape than we were 30 years ago. And, you want a global reach, and there are a lot of people who really don't want to share their love and affinity for the way NASCAR used to be. They don't want that to change. And, things always change. I mean, MLB is what it used to be 30 years ago. PGA isn't what it used to be 30 years ago. The PBA isn't what it used to be 30 years ago. I mean, Chris Schenkel is long gone. I watched the end of a PBA show the other day, and I was like, wow, this isn't what it used to be. Things change, man, and you have to adapt or you die. And NASCAR is trying very, very hard to not only adapt, but they want to be the ones who are driving that adaptation. And I give them a lot of credit for going out there and making a show like that happen. Everybody would love to have a docuseries on Netflix. Every sport, every team in every sport would love to have that. And if NASCAR's made it happen, good for them. That's what they should be doing.
Well, think about it from this very simple arithmetic perspective. There's been lots of whining over the years about why ratings have faded. It's like, okay, well, you drove all the people that really cared about this sport out. I'm like, well, no, they chose to leave on their own for whatever reasons that they did. But if you want this sport to be around forever, which we obviously do, you have to backfill with a fresh new group of people who are excited to be there. And when you want to when you go to a football game, there's every kind of person. Why wouldn't you want to go to a racetrack and there be every kind of person?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And that's how you fill those stands back up, is you backfill with the people that haven't seen this thing before. Rusty and I didn't know what it was really, except for TV, until we went and we're like, this is something wildly different than I thought it was.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we've already said it a few times, but like, how much I don't feel like there's 5 minutes of video in existence about Michael Jordan talking about his race team and talking about what he's doing. To get this perspective from that kind of owner, hopefully they get to do that. I would hope that there's plenty of Michael Jordan in this. I'm gonna be so glued to the TV on this one. I don't know what to say.
I'm looking forward to it. I think Jordan is. I mean, anybody who watched the Last Dance knows he's an opinionated dude.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And he is not someone who is going to just sit there and say, you know what, I'm going to let you do it the way you think is the right way. He's going to say, I want this done the way I want it done. He's the driver of this deal. And I want to see him doing that with this team. I want to see what his thoughts are. I want to see what his expertise is. And I want to see, the same level of passion for, Bubba Wallace's chances of winning in NASCAR as he had for winning an NBA championship. I think that'd be fantastic. There's no one was more competitive over that period of the 1990s than Michael Jordan was. If we bring that to NASCAR, that's a fantastic thing, man.
I watched, I think it was on YouTube or something. It was like a Cribs with Scottie Pippen. I'm going way off topic on this one. Well, I shouldn't say off topic, but everybody knows the connection here. But his I guess house and what he has built kind of around basketball at his house. I thought that was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. There was no moment of like jealousy. Some of those you're just like, you pompous ass, look at your stupid house, blah, blah, blah. You got this. Scottie Pippen walked through his house. I'm like, that is so cool. That is neat. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, Scottie, you're the man. And, I think he's got a son that's playing basketball and seemed to be pretty good, I reckon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shocker.
I'm sitting down here in my private little movie theater with my big screen TV, and I love hearing about other people's houses. But I hear what you say, man. That entire Bulls team back then, man, there was some great personalities on that team. Pippen was, when I watched that documentary, that The Last Dance, I forgot just how, I don't know if divisive is the right word, but Pippen certainly kind of felt like he wasn't getting the respect that he deserved in that whole deal, and he did what he had to do to get that respect. So good for him.
Well, now I feel awful actually. So it looks like 9 days ago, Scottie Pippen's son passed away at 33. Oh, I can't believe that. My goodness.
That is
wow.
Wow. Well, you certainly didn't know that, man. So.
I didn't know that. Jeez, I was all excited.
Don't be too rough on yourself.
Well, I went and I Googled because I was like, oh, what's his son doing that? Like, geez, golly. Well,
it's just
condolences.
Bad time. That sucks.
Yeah. Golly, I can't get out of the gutter on this one. Let's go to this. How about manufacturers unveiling the new cars on Cinco de Mayo coming up? Did y'all see the leaked pictures or picture? I guess it came out.
Man, I remember when I used to be the guy that had all the leaked pictures.
Yeah. What's up, Cone? Get after it.
I saw that. I saw the leaked pictures the other day, and I'm like, ooh, someone's going to be in big trouble for that one. But I like what I saw. These cars are looking pretty racy, man. It's I can't wait for the official unveiling, but I did like what I saw. They were pretty cool looking.
Man,
agreed.
That picture, I think it was grainy, and people had to like enhance it or something or whatever. And that was, I saw it, and I think the first word out of my mouth, I was like, "Damn!" I was like, "Hey, that guy." I don't know. I feel like I've been going to this whole thing. I shouldn't say skeptical or whatever, but really highly anticipating what it's going to be. In terms of the technical details, I'll tell you what. At least from what we saw with the leaked pictures and stuff, they got the aesthetics correct. I would say.
I would say
sexy.
so. Yeah. I'm going to be very interested. I'm so hoping that these cars are start symmetrical and stay symmetrical.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
The one thing that just drives me crazy, and I would just have a rule. If I was the guy who wrote the rule book, I would have a rule in there at the very end that said, we will not allow anything that looks stupid. And the dog tracking cars and the crab walking cars, to me, just look stupid. It's like, if you're going in a straight line and the front end of the car and the back end of the car aren't lined up, that looks silly to me. So yeah. I hope we eliminate that. Based on what I've seen and heard, that's going to be a thing of the past. So I thought that particularly I think it was Chevrolet is the one that they had the biggest view of. And I thought it was very aggressive looking. It looked like a race car. And to me, that's really important. Race cars should look like race cars to me,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Nice.
Yep. Nice.
On the trucks. So how about Toyota? Kind of, they didn't race this weekend, but trucks in trucks, Toyota's won all 6 races so far. Is there any competition for that top spot at this point? And what is it that Toyota's? I mean, obviously Toyota with TRD pouring all the money into it, and as long as Kyle Busch Motorsports is around, whatever manufacturer they're with is going to have the nicest stuff. So that might play a part in it. But dang, how about Toyota this year?
Yeah, and I think the move of ThorSport back to Toyota, As obviously they won the first 2 races with Ben Rhodes, and I think they're going to have a couple of more wins throughout the course of the year. I mean, they've got a pretty solid lineup there with Enfinger and Eckes and Johnny Sauter and Matt Crafton. That's a pretty solid lineup. I don't think we've ever had a manufacturer sweep the season in the trucks, but I think Toyota, they've got the lineup who might be able to make it happen. I think there are some Chevrolet teams that could obviously make a run at. GMS is too good to go an entire year without picking up a win. That's a great organization. They've got some pretty solid drivers behind the wheel there. Sheldon Creed, defending champion, had a little bit of a bad luck start to the season, but he's too good to be locked out of the victory lane for the rest of the year. So I think as we get to the heat of the summer stretch here, I think we'll start to see Sheldon get back to his winning ways. And I think we'll see some, like we have in the past, I think we'll see some surprise winners there in the Truck Series as well.
Yeah. No doubt.
You heard it here first.
There you go. Well, gentlemen, let's do it. Let's gas it up. Look out. There it is. Kansas. Cohen, you'd said it earlier about, actually, I think Sherwin started it, but talking about the diversity of the tracks. It feels like this year more than any, when we're about to go to a 1.5 miler, I'm like, all right, let's do that. That sounds cool. We've been doing this other thing for a little while. Let's go back to that. I really think NASCAR's hit on something with this schedule where every race I feel like I'm looking forward to that style of racing this week, knowing that we just came off of a different style and we're about to go to another style. So I like it.
Yeah, and what do we have? 7 road course races, 7 or 6 short track races. It is a pretty good mix this year, and I think we've got enough first-time events this year that it's a really cool mix of venues and events. And I've always liked Kansas. That was a racetrack. I was out there in 2001. I wasn't there for the opening weekend, but I was there for the first truck race, and I've always appreciated going back there. It's a cool place. The facility is just beautiful. The area out there has been built up into something that I didn't envision when I first went out there. There's a lot of shopping. There's a couple of sports stadiums that have been built out there as well. And the racetrack itself is still really cool. I know they reconfigured it a couple of years ago and added some banking. It is a cool joint. And, a lot of people are going to argue about the 550 horsepower package and the high downforce and whatever. It makes for a visually appealing event to me at a place like Kansas. So, whether that's the purist's view or the showman's view or whatever you want to, I don't know. It makes for a race that's visually fun to watch. And it should be a good weekend. I think, what do we have? ARCA, Trucks, and Cup on the docket for this weekend?
I think so.
Yeah, it should be good.
Beautiful. Sherwin, you looking forward to it?
Yeah, I am. The surface at Kansas has really come in. And the more success that Kansas has, the more likely it is that Atlanta might turn into something wildly similar with hotels, theme parks, casinos, sports books, you name it.
Yeah. And yes, I should say. What I wanted to bring up was that before the race or just leading up to it, they're going to do a flyover with, it sounds like 2 A10 Warthogs, which will be pretty sweet.
Tank killers.
Yeah. So, and I'm looking at an article here, and it's the first time I've seen somebody have to use the name of the race in a serious article. And it's like, it says a city first, right? Kansas City, Missouri. 2 A-10 aircraft known as the KC Hogs will give NASCAR fans an added taste of speed before the Bushy McBush 400.
Nice.
So I dig that already. I'm like you said, the totally professional Mike Joy. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Bushy McBush 400 or Bushy McBush race. It's got to say race at the end. Yeah. So,
he's going to kill it. I know he's going to.
Yes. Looking forward to it. Gentlemen, let's do some picks for said Bushy McBush race. let's see. Last week, Sherwin, you picked Hamlin, and he kind of finished 32nd. And I didn't think that was a bad pick, and I still don't think that was a bad pick. I picked Austin Dillon, who turned out to be a bit of a better pick with 8th. So, Sherwin, you'll go first after Mr. Cohn gives us his pick for Kansas.
I'm going to go with Greg Alding. I am actually going to go with Kyle Busch.
Kyle Busch.
Interesting.
There you go. Continue the streak. Fill out some of those win columns for folks. Yeah. I like it. Sherwin?
Well, along those same lines of us getting a new winner, I'm going to go for the guy who won there last fall. And I'll be a homer for this, but I'm picking Chase Elliott.
Chase, that's exactly who I was going to pick. Therefore, I have to think of someone off the top of my head. Does Byron have a win this year? I can't remember yet.
Yeah. Byron won.
He had that early win. Shoot. Okay, so who doesn't have a win that I need to pick? Let's see. Because, it wouldn't be no fun for me to pick, Byron.
Harvick hasn't won. Hamlin hasn't won.
Yep.
Denny Hamlin.
I'm going Harvick then. So I'm taking Harvick on this one. But I don't know. SHR still got to, I don't know. They got to do something. I don't know what the deal is. Ford's seem to be doing okay otherwise.
My roommate wants to pick James Hinchcliffe.
Okay.
Well, he races IndyCar, so that'll work out good for you.
That'll be tough. But hey, Hinchtown, I'm in.
She's a big fan.
I don't blame her. Well, folks.
Oh, she just shut us down right there.
Yeah, right.
She loves the mayor. She loves the mayor of Hinchtown.
Oh, man. Before we get too off the rails, Cone, let's close this thing out. Tell the folks where they can find you. What's coming up?
Oh, I don't want him to find me. I'm going off the grid, man. Could be something. Could be something. Could be nothing.
You're so stupid.
They're coming. The storm is coming.
That's what we need. We need to be brought back down to earth every once in a while. So.
Storm is coming.
My wife does the same thing. Quit being so stupid.
Conan is going silent. Conan is going radio silent.
Conan.
Well,
you can find me at The Orange Cone on Twitter.
And if
you have anything that needs to be dropped, just let me know.
Right. If you want to know what to do next,
right.
Follow The Orange Cone.
If you want to know what to do next, right. Mm-hmm. We are planning on storming Phoenix Raceway in November.
Ooh.
There you go. Storm it. Naruto run.
We're gonna storm Phoenix Raceway in November.
You can't say stuff like that because there are kids that will actually listen to
It's off the rails. Sherwin, why don't you close us out? Tell the folks where they can find us what's coming up.
You can find us at PETM Podcast on Twitter and on Instagram. You can find me at Andrew L. Sherwin on Instagram and at Pregame Engineer on Twitter.
There you go. PTMPodcast.com at PTM Podcast. I'm Tailgate Mayor Rusty Wallace at Tailgate Mayor. Can't wait to talk to y'all next week after Kansas. It's going to be a fun one. We'll see y'all then. Sweet. That's a wrap.
Sweet.
Still live on the YouTube, but Mr. Cone, thanks for hanging out. That was fun.
Yeah, man.
Was it?
I had fun. Ashley.
Oh, listen to you. Let's quit with the sass.
You know what? I'm having a real hard time with people.
You know who she hates today? She hates anybody who
has a penis.
Okay.
I knew that's what was coming next.
So here's the thing. Two things have happened in recent days that have really got her fired up. She has watched the Lorena Bobbitt docuseries.
Oh, God.
On Amazon. So she's all fired up. And then her boss gave her some shit today at work. So she is literally ready to emasculate every man she knows.
she's walking around with these freaking lawn trimmers in her hand the other day, and she's like, "This is what I would use. This is what I would do. This is how." No, she didn't say this is how I would do it. She said, "This is how I'm gonna do it."
Oh, God.
How I'm gonna do it.
Well, okay, I have something to say about that. Did you guys watch the Lorena Bobbitt special, like the series?
Did somebody get their penis whacked off in that deal?
Yes.
Right.
And
Not in
no
a good
is the
way.
answer to that question.
No is the answer.
I'm choking.
Sherwin's feeling really uncomfortable right now. Just like your dad said 30 years ago, you make everybody uncomfortable.
I at least kind of know the story in that, like, when it happened, that was the big story, right? The thing and the dismemberment.
Then Tanya Harding.
So here's.
But then
here's what.
No, Tanya Harding attacked Nancy Kerrigan, so then that story got
right. But
Well,
so it kind of got buried. That like. He kind of deserved it. That was the whole thing.
Yeah,
right?
that's what it appears to be. It appears to be.
He was a selfish lover.
But so I have something to say about this.
He was a selfish lover. He didn't satisfy her, and she got mad.
Oh, God.
Like her first initial interview with somebody was like, "Oh, I was not satisfied. He's really selfish." And I'm like, why are you going to say this to any? Like, she was clearly didn't understand the language. Maybe that's what was going on, because she's
she's an immigrant,
right?
She does not. English is not her first language.
So she was trying to articulate like that he was just a really.
This is the longest story.
Anyway, I actually have something to say about this. Okay.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I do.
You're already saying it.
Okay, so she cuts it off, and then. When I was like, why is she helping them find it?
She didn't want to go to jail.
No, she was like, oh, yeah, let me tell you. All right, I'll tell you where I threw it. And I'm like, she had to throw it somewhere. Like, that's how successful she was.
Ashley said she's going to throw it in the disposal.
And I'm like, why are you going to help them find it? Like, if you're that.
Every other person that you're talking to is a male.
I know.
Pretty much. Well, they'll listen tomorrow. The girls will listen tomorrow, and they'll be like, "You get him,
go get him, you go, girl,
you got him, you got him,
go get that cone." He's got it coming.
It was a really good series, though. It was really entertaining.
It was, because the urologist who had to sew it back on literally cracked up the entire time.
He was literally
laughing the entire
interview that he had. He was not. And okay, here's another thing. So the surgeon who did the surgery, his title.
Okay, this is my joke.
Is a microsurgeon. You don't think for like one day they could have just called him a mega surgeon?
That's literally my joke.
Just make people feel a little better about it.
No, she blew the joke. No, you blew the joke.
Oh, no.
You blew. All right, so here's what it is. Knock it off. You stole the joke and you didn't even tell it right. So if I was John Bobbitt and I'm laying there bleeding from the groin, and they got this guy coming in, and he's like, "Hey, my name's Steve. I'm the microsurgeon. I'm going to be reattaching your severed male anatomy." I'd have been like, "Hey, man,
I want a mega surgeon.
You got to do me a favor just for the day. Like, I'm already going to be known as the guy who had my Johnson whacked off here. You got to help me out and say you're a mega surgeon so I can at least use it with the ladies."
You know what? You're right. That's better. That's a better
right.
one.
Right. You stole my joke and you ruined.
Oh my God. I don't care. I don't even care.
Oh Lord.
But the most amazing thing is that they showed a picture.
Okay.
Oh,
like
no.
this is a PG-13 show.
No, it's not.
I was
I'm sorry. I'm moving on.
I was about 13 when it happened.
Ashley was 10.
No, I was in 1993. Was it 1993?
I was in college.
I was in third grade.
I was in college.
Yeah, I was in third grade because I remember the Tanya Harding story.
Why are you
1993? So, yeah, that would have been I would have been 11, I guess.
June 22nd, 1993 was the week after a race at Michigan that I was at.
Okay. Yeah, Sherman, you would have been in like third grade too. We're the same age, right? I think we're.
No, I'm a year older than. Actually, I'm almost 18 months older than Rusty.
Yeah.
Right. You're the same age as me though, because I'm 30. Well, I'm in my 30s.
Right.
In my 30s. That's a wide range there, Ashley.
So there's only two persons that are talking right now that have a 4 in front of the numbers that describe their age.
One of them's about to have a 5.
Look out.
Colonoscopy.
It's going to be great.
Oh, man. Hey, I got 39 coming up. I'm going to celebrate that year hard. Actually, I'm going to try to get in shape so on my 40th I can actually go hiking somewhere.
All right.
Bad idea.
I'm going to hike to hell and back on my 50th, I think.
We're going to have a colonoscopy party.
We are. We are. I've got some compressed air that I'm already using to practice.
I feel like
the fart room is one of the funniest things you'll hear.
If you've ever picked up anybody from a colonoscopy, it's a riot because you walk back there to pick them up and it's like you're in a symphony.
It's the Beans scene from Blazing Saddles.
It's just like waking up next to Ashley. It's like, whop.
Hey Taggart, you want some more beans? I think y'all have had enough.
Everybody, when anybody is going to be turning 50, it's like the first thing that anybody thinks
of.
I
can't wait.
Oh, you're going to be getting a colonoscopy.
Right. I can't wait.
That's the only thing I think about when somebody.
They're going to be like, all right, it's time to do this. And they're going to be like, go get their gloves, and we're like, no gloves, man.
Yeah, right? No gloves.
I would choose anesthesia if I was you.
Experience.
I want the whole. I want the real deal.
You want the full experience.
No gloves, no lube. Let's go.
So this really will be interesting. So I would like to say, so Charlie has never drank. I'm sorry, the orange cone.
What's wrong with you?
Oh my God, Conan. He's actually never drank any alcohol his entire life. This is true. Never tried any alcohol. Never drank, and he's never done any recreational or non-recreational or prescribed medication in any way. So he has never been under the influence of anything. So when you go in for a colonoscopy, and he's never had any surgeries that he's had to do that either.
I know.
So when you go in for a colonoscopy, like
pretty healthy dude,
you have to. They have to give you something for that.
Why?
So I am really looking.
Why?
Because they have to. You can't just do that.
I think I'm going to do it.
No, you're not. No, you're not. You know what? Okay.
I'm going to tell him I'm going to be like, look.
So I'm
just curious.
They won't let you do it. You're an idiot.
I'm going to say let her rip.
You're an idiot.
Do you have a speculum?
With all the times that you videotape me with the freaking dentist or
whatever
my God, else is
I can't
going
wait.
on.
Or when you make a shitty batch of banana bread.
No,
no.
Periscoping your pickup.
Do it. I can't wait. This is great. We should have more of these conversations.
Maybe not record them.
Right. Let's maybe not do this live on YouTube where someone in Bangladesh could hear this. This is great.
Wait, I actually have something else to say.
Oh, do you?
Oh, Lord.
Really, I just want to see, Rusty, I haven't talked to you in such a long time. How are you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing good. Things are good. I mean, all things considered, but vaccinated, ready to get back out in the world.
Good for you. Do you miss your friends? Do you miss Sherwin? Being so far away.
I saw since we're being inappropriate, I saw a tweet or something from somebody who said they were getting on an airplane, and this lady said, this lady yelled out, "I am vaxxed, waxed, and ready for action." And it was like, we need this kind of excitement out of the entire world after vaccine. This is what we're looking for.
Vaxxed, waxed, and ready for smash. All right.
So
that is the kind of enthusiasm we're looking for.
That's exactly right. So you know what? I'm vaxxed, waxed, and ready for action. Ashley, how are you?
When are you getting waxed?
Oh, would you?
When are you getting waxed, Sherwin?
That's probably not. I don't know that I'm that adventurous. I think I'll just stick with the painted
a lot
toenails.
of pain, brother.
You want to get your toenails painted.
It's a lot of pain, man. We watched Fail Army, and I think
Lord.
that's a lot of pain. I think that's a lot of pain.
I've seen those of like guys going and waxing their chest or whatever,
Right,
and they do not have any idea.
They have no idea. Right.
No, thank you.
They have no idea. They're like, I can do it. I'm a man. And like one strip and you're fucking done.
Hey,
I'm sorry. What?
What's wrong with you?
I had an 11-pound baby, okay?
Oh,
and
Jesus. Here we go.
Goes to get waxed and like,
Here we go.
11 pounds. You didn't have a baby. You had a calf.
I had a bowling ball.
She also had a C-section.
11-pound for
You had a
I
C-section.
don't think I should get a button.
You
or
don't
something.
get anything for a
You know
C-section.
what? All I wanted was like a sticker or button.
You know what you get?
They gave me a baby, and
You know
I was
what
like,
you get?
I want this.
Right. You know what you get for a C-section? 2 days off. You get to sit in bed for a couple of days. That's what you get.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, no one cares.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to close out the PTM podcast. Thank you,
After dark is officially dark.
I think we should have a baby.
Oh, Lord. And thank you for joining. We'll talk to y'all later. Have a nice day. See ya.